let's talk about chapter 2 and coding and compliance. That beautiful thing. Okay. So privacy, this is chapter 2, so we're moving on. So hopefully if everything goes well.
It seemed like you started talking about chapter 2 yesterday because we went into like real death. And part of that was chapter 2, seemed like.
So if everything runs smooth today, we'll get a chance to finish chapter 2 and 3 today, but we could do chapter 4 and 5 tomorrow. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong, baby?
Oh, I was just trying to. Do you know how much the book costs?
I'm not really sure, sweetheart, honestly. But if you look at the Houston Public Library, go back through the text thread that I sent everybody,
Okay.
and look at the name of the book, huh?
I've been tired and just like.
I understand. Yeah. And try to see if any of the Houston Public Library or the Harris County Public Library has it. Apply for a library card if you don't have one, and just check it out. Just go back through the text thread and read all what I said,
Okay.
and you'll see. If you have questions, just text me and I'll go through it again.
Right,
yeah, no problem. All right, y'all. So let's talk about compliance, privacy, fraud, and abuse. And it's real important that we talk about that. We have to talk about the 2 provisions of Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So this is chapter 2.
Oh, you said HIPAA. Okay.
Yeah. This is chapter 2 of your, if you have chapter 2 of your Fortney book, please go to chapter 2. How many of y'all are on your, how many of y'all have your Fortney book today? Okay, so take out your Fortney book, and if you can spare to share with your neighbors, let them look on with you, that'd be super fantastic. If not, that's okay too. Okay, and again, for the rest, y'all just listen up. Everything is going to be on the tube, no problem. I'm going to still lecture from the notes and from the key. Okay.
I'm trying to find the pages.
Okay, this is the book. That's chapter 2.
This
So
is the beginning.
that's yeah.
But it was on the back side of page 1.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking for the rest of the pages.
Okay, we'll put it together.
So I'm trying to find 11.
Yeah, let her help you out. Let her help you out. Okay. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we're going to name and talk about 2 provisions of Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act that relate most to healthcare. We're going to explain the difference between Title I insurance reform and Title II. Define and discuss HIPAA roles, relationships, and key terms, including HIPAA in private practice setting. Describe the privacy rule under HIPAA. Define and discuss protected health information. Identify the difference between disclosure and use of privacy health information, and discuss exceptions to HIPAA. Illustrate the difference between privileged and non-privileged information. Explain patient rights under HIPAA. Explain explain responsibilities of healthcare organization to protect patient rights under HIPAA. State guidelines for HIPAA privacy compliance. List 3 major categories of security safeguards under HIPAA. Discuss the security rule and how it relates to coding and billing. Define the provisions of the HITECH Act. Explain the purpose of the HIPAA Omnibus Rule. List the consequences of noncompliance with HIPAA and the HITECH Act. Discuss how HIPAA affects all areas of the healthcare office, including the organization and staff responsibilities in protecting patient rights. Identify the difference between fraud and abuse. Identify the federal and state laws that regulate healthcare fraud and abuse. List the various fraud and abuse audit programs. Describe the basic components of an effective compliance program. Discuss what to expect from your healthcare practice when it comes to various HIPAA policies and procedures. Okay, so some key terms that we're going to discuss as we're going through the chapter is abuse, American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, authorization form, breach of confidential communication, business associate, civil monetary penalty, clearinghouse, clustering, compliance plan, comprehensive error rate testing, confidential communication, confidentiality, consent, covered entity, disclosure, electronic media, embezzlement, fraud, healthcare fraud prevention and enforcement action team, healthcare provider, and HIPAA omnibus rule. Okay, so I have turned to the next page of chapter 2, and it's speaking about compliance. Okay, so it's speaking about compliance right here on this sheet. So if you have your book, please turn to the second page. Those that don't have their book, just listen up, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
We know I know the HIPAA laws.
Just listen up, honey, because I'm in the book. I'm in the book. Yeah.
I know the HIPAA laws already.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, sweetie. Okay, so compliance defined. Compliance in the healthcare industry is the process of meeting regulations, recommendations, and expectations of federal and state agencies that pay for healthcare services and regulate the industry. Healthcare compliance encompasses the claims, reimbursement process, managed care procedures, protection of patients' privacy, occupational and health administration, which is OSHA guidelines, clinical laboratory improvement amendments, provisions, licensure, and due diligence in obeying the law. Healthcare is one of the most highly regulated industries, holding the healthcare worker to the highest levels. So the first step in achieving a compliance is identifying the laws that regulate the industries, which are outlined further in this chapter. It is crucial to understand and follow. Hi, sweetie. Failure to comply with the associated mandates can lead to criminal penalties and/or civil fines. Governmental agencies such as the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Civil Rights, Office of Inspector General, and the Centers for Medicaid, Medicare Services are charged with enforcing these laws. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about how each one of these roles uh, um, agencies play. Okay, so let's talk about Department of Justice and Health and Human Services. I'm going to erase all this now. Okay. Oh, that's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot.
Shani, could you add me a little more water here, please? So they just go through it, municipal insurance and then. Thank you, dear.
finna write your name again.
No. No, y'all should know my name by now.
I just thought that was something you did, like every class.
I usually do. Honestly, I usually do. And I take a picture of it because with the date, because it lets you know what day I talked about that lecture.
Well, it wasn't April 2nd. But it wasn't April 2nd no more.
No, it's not April 2nd no more. You're right about that. Let's see, is this the best one? I think it's the best one. Today is what, April 10?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to check a minute ago.
Yeah.
I think you about the only teacher that still write the whole day like that.
I like
Yeah.
that. So anyway, nostalgic.
Yeah. Department of Health and Human Services. They help regulate the care and laws of healthcare agencies.
She look like cute.
I know. Insurance company. And patient care. Okay. Health information management technology. Follow these guidelines under this agency. And the law. And the law. Okay. So a lot of times you're going to find that when you work in your field, how things should be structured in your work environment, in doctor's offices and hospitals, how things flow. These folks play a role in how JACO, Joint Commission Hospital Administration Organization, they audit the hospitals and ambulatory. We're going to speak what ambulatory is. Ambulatory care providers. Okay. They follow these guidelines of how the hospital should function, the bylaws of the hospital, the compliance of the hospital, the laws of the hospital, how long a patient is supposed to stay in the hospital. They help write these guidelines, how you should care for the elderly, how you should care for the children.
When you go to work in most hospitals, the laws all the time, they don't really change much. So.
Well, yeah. Just every now and then they make a few changes.
Right.
Every now and then they make a few changes.
I was just saying that just to, just to make it like you don't have to go study like different stuff every time you go apply for a job. Stuff like when you're on healthcare, it's a little different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the hospitals they have manuals, procedure manuals, and SOP manuals for you to read anytime that you need it.
They have them in the group homes too.
Yeah.
But like state regulates a lot of that, so you have to be careful. And if you fail, they're gonna give you a certain amount of days
to correct it. I'm glad you said that. So we'll pinpoint back on what you said about a certain amount of days. So we'll come back to that. The Office of Inspector General. Let me talk about that. The Office of Inspector General, it's an agency that, how can I say, inspects for all occupational types. For all occupational types. Now, healthcare has an Office of Inspector General. The education system, as far as teachers, have an Office of Inspector General.
Insurance, period.
Insurance industry has an Office of Inspector General. My husband works for ExxonMobil, the chemical industry. They have an Office of Inspector General that they have to answer to for some of those things that goes on at their plants and stuff like that. So they have compliance and safety and OSHA and all those things. That is so true. So every occupation, every career occupation has its own Office of Inspector General that they have to adhere to. And to piggyback off of what LaRonda was saying, when the Office of Inspector General, when CMS, so let me go right here and put CMS means Centers of Medicare and Medicaid services, okay? If they send you letters to answer to them, to correspond to them, they're going to give you an amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many of y'all on food stamps or like just had Medicaid or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It works that way. I got a letter. They do send you letters.
Exactly.
So it tells you if you don't respond by this date, this is going to happen to you.
Exactly. And so what ends up happening is, what happens is that once that occurs, if you don't correspond within a certain time frame, then they're going to send forth the Office of Inspector General and shut down that office. Okay, that billing practice. Okay, do the billing practice. So it's just like the IRS. They're not going to come and throw you in jail. They're going to give you ample amount of time to respond and to adhere to whatever it is that they want you to respond to. You just have to be responsive and say something. Even if it's we're looking into it, we'll get right back with you. We're looking into it. There's only so much of that you can do, and then say, okay, we've looked into it. You got to make time to look into whatever CMS is asking you to about that claim or answer to it. And you have to be honest and true. I say this to you medical billers because you have a lot of people who are afraid or who will tell you fearful things about medical billing. Oh, CMS gonna throw you in jail. Oh, you're gonna get in trouble. No. As long as you answer and you are true with your answer and you know the date of hire, things that happen prior to your hire date is not your responsibility. Always double check the date of service compared to your hire date. And you can always get yourself out of that situation. Anything after that, you got to be watchful and mindful. Is it okay to question everything that comes across your desk for billing? It's okay to do that until you get used to what you're doing and asking your physician. It's very okay. If you're still not sure, come to me. I've been in the field 33 years. Ask me and I will tell you. Okay, if you're doing it okay, you're doing it all right. Like I said, I think I said it to this class, and I've taught so many classes. I'm not just your teacher, I'm your mentor for life. So please feel free. Yeah, but I still have students from my 2003 class that I still keep in touch with. So yeah, they still email me, they still text me. My phone number ain't changed. It's been the same for umpteen years. As long as my husband paid that bill, that's all that's looking at. Pay that bill. Pay that bill. Anyway, but yeah, I'm your mentor for life. So yeah, I want you to ask me. If you're not sure, I still have students come and Facebook me. They inbox me. I want you to ask me. LinkedIn me. They ask me through LinkedIn. I want you to ask me. Yes. Okay. All right. So CMS, Office of Inspector General, HIPAA. I'm going talking about HIPAA right here on this page here. And again, for those of y'all that have your books, go to this page. For those of y'all that will eventually get your books, this is the page that I will be on. So if you catch on to that page, that'd be fantastic. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, one of the most significant pieces of legislation to have an impact on healthcare providers, healthcare workers, and individuals receiving healthcare services, Health Insurance Portability Act of 1996.
That's the one that's most violated, though.
Well, yeah, but you can't always look at it at the positive. I understand you explained yesterday by example, but not all facilities are like that. Yeah, not all of them are like that. Okay, so let's talk about HIPAA. Who brought HIPAA into? Anybody know who brought HIPAA into play? He plays the saxophone. He was the president. His wife's name was Hillary.
All right, Bill Clinton.
Bill.
William Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
But I'll take them more. Thank you, Blake.
Good old Arkansas. Okay. So President Bill Clinton played the saxophone, was the one that brought it into play in 1996. How many of y'all have watched the movie Philadelphia? Philadelphia with the starring role Tom Hanks. Are y'all familiar with that movie?
Oh, yeah, I think I'll go watch it.
Vicky, you gonna go watch it?
Sure, why not?
Okay. And then there's a movie called John Q.
I thought it was
with Denzel Washington. How many of y'all familiar with that movie?
I saw that.
I don't know the
Okay.
movie, but I'm familiar with Denzel Washington.
You're familiar with Denzel Washington?
John
Okay.
Q was good.
John, yes. So what I'm admonishing to you ladies, and well, no gentlemen, to you ladies, is watch Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a very good movie about HIPAA violation.
Okay.
Isn't that the one where I think he was in a coma or something?
Okay, maybe towards the end.
Yeah, I think it was.
He was an attorney.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And he was gay.
Uh-huh.
And he had AIDS.
Yeah.
And he had lesions on his face.
Yeah.
And everybody in his workplace was wondering what these lesions on his face was all about. So some kind of way when Human Resources privied to his office, to his information, then they found out that he had HIV, he had AIDS. And so it scared everybody at the office. Before all of this was found out, he was a prominent, successful attorney. He was an attorney that did his job very well until they found out his lifestyle, until they found out his illness. Okay. And so once people find out about your personal life like that, they tend to treat you differently. And it's not just because these days or most days in the past, because of your lifestyle or what you practice or what you believe. People just have prejudices, period. Okay. And so in that instance, that's an example of prejudice. And so he was immediately let go, and he had to go to court to sue because his privacy was violated. Yeah.
Yep.
And that information should have never been disclosed. Okay. So that movie is a very good example of what happens. So if an employer calls where you're working at and they want to find out about, disclose that information?
Keep your mouth shut.
Yes, right. You should not. She said, hell no. Okay. Do not disclose that information. Okay.
They find out you did it, you gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, well, if they find out that office did it, period, that office is in trouble. That's what we talked about. Respond superior, let the master speak. Physician is first of all in trouble. The supervisor of that office is second in trouble. And whoever works in the office is third in line in trouble. Respondite superior. Remember we talked about that in chapter 1 yesterday? That means let the master speak. So the doctor is the master of that practice. Okay, he's accountable for that. Okay, so unless a person has disclosed on paper that it's okay for this person or that person to know how their health condition is or what's going on in their medical records, then they don't need to know.
That's why they have the release of medical records, who you can release to, who you can't.
Well, not only that, that's a different segment of documentation. We're talking about release of information as far as
medical records and then release of information.
Similar, but not exactly the same.
Okay.
Not exactly the same. So let's move on.
HR and the other one, I'm trying to figure out exactly what.
Okay, give me just a minute and let me explain.
Okay.
Okay, give me just a minute. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, because my husband is kind of like that. He's a chemist and he'll go on and on and on. His mind goes 90 miles an hour. Yeah. And sometimes I have to catch him and I have to catch him and I have to catch. He's brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, I could bring you paperwork that he doodles chemical equations all day. That's what he do all day as a chemist. But I have to tell him, wait a minute. And he comes from a family of geniuses. And so I have to tell them when I go visit. And it's okay. Because they have a lot to say. Their thinking is really fast. Yeah. But you have to pause for a minute to listen. You have to pause for a minute to listen. So you have to practice being a good listener. And that's what I work on my husband. That's why I'm patient with you. I understand where you are. I know where you are. So practice listening. When you listen, just take a minute, breathe, and then let it sink in for a minute, and then go on to the next minute, okay? So hear what I'm saying. Release of information in medical records is a little different than release of information or sharing it with your family. If you sign a form, listen, catch it, because that's the soft skill you're going to need when you get out there in the work field, okay? When you, and it's on YouTube, sweetie, so you can play the video all you want. You don't have to necessarily write the notes. You can play it all you want. Okay, listen. If I were to write on paper that Bobby J. Harper Jr. has rights to know what's going on, I don't know, Suefield, I don't know. If they call Dr. Suefield and they say, hi, I'm just calling to see about some lab work for my wife. She's not feeling well right now. Can I get those reports? They're going to say, okay, hold on a minute. And what is your name? My name is Bobby J. Harper Jr. Oh, okay, hold on just a minute. They're going to go and see, did I click on medical records that my husband can have this privy to this information? Right. Did I not click? Because see, I'm not there. I may be in the bed somewhere unconscious. I can't answer for myself. So he's going to have to find out an answer for me. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's different. Now, release of information and medical records is saying, I'm giving this doctor rights to have copies of my medical records. Or I'm giving this attorney rights to have copies of my medical records. Do I want my attorney to know my every move of every doctor I go to? No, because it's not relevant to him. Right? Do I want my job to know every move? Unless I injured myself at work, that's a whole different story. But outside of a work injury diagnosis, do I want them to know every ounce of my move or every doctor I go to? No, because they're not on my regular release of information. My husband, my sister, and my mama are on there. They can call all day long. But my employer called for my hematology stuff because it's not relevant. I didn't injure myself at work related to blood. So why are you calling? Why are you checking in on me? I can tell you that myself. And if I tell you that, I'll tell you only so much if I want to at my discretion. You see what I'm saying? Because I got to still yet protect me, right? Yeah. So release of information is release of information. I don't want you to get that mixed up.
Okay.
Do you understand? Don't get that mixed up. All right. Now you tell me what I said.
So basically, you don't want your job to know all of your business.
Okay.
So
unless it's
relevant
relevant.
to the job.
Like
Okay.
work-related.
Yeah.
Work related. Okay.
So you have your, I guess, your emergency contact list of the people that you want to, be able that you want the hospital or whoever to disclose certain information to.
Yes.
And just those people.
Yes.
If the job call ain't in violation.
They're in violation because if it's not relevant to a work injury and I didn't give such and such company rights to know that information, they don't know. Unless I wrote in there my mama, my sister, my brother. Let's take you for example. Now, unless you want your mom and your baby's dad to know from your OBGYN doctor how you doing. They need to know all your labs. Let's suppose you put them on a list. That's something different. Should I be the one? Can I call the OB-GYN office and say, hey, I'm calling about LaRonda. La, 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 la. Can y'all tell me what's going on? No? You don't think they should tell me? Why? I'm not on the list. I'm not privy to know. Am I right? All right. Now, God forbid, and I'm not speaking that over you, but I'm just saying, God forbid, something happens in the midst of my presence. Okay. And I'm a witness to that. And you may add me to it, or you may give me some sort of privy to that information. Then that's a little different because it's a witness to an incident that happened. Okay. But just to be checking on you to see how your baby doing, how your blood sugar doing, all like that, that's not relevant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, does everybody understand what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, great. You got it. Now you tell me what I said.
Okay, so if you was witness to something that, like you said, that'll be a little different because you were there. So you have to possibly disclose certain information to them and give you some feedback on what's going on. But anything outside of that, you have no. Very
good. Now, do you see how easy it was to listen and retain that?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to practice that. That's a very important soft skill. Because if you're going to move up in the industry, if you're going to stay stable in the industry, you got to be a great listener. You got to be a great listener. I'm not pointing you out to be ugly or be facetious. I'd rather help you here than you to get out there and wonder why you're going in circles. I'd rather get right here and stop you in your circle. Break that cycle. Does that make sense? Because I love you. I'm here to help you, not harm you. If I'm here to harm you, baby, I don't need to be working here or anywhere else. I need to be in my room, shut the door, in the bed, watching TV by myself. And I'm that kind of person. If I don't feel good and I'm in a crummy, messed up mood, baby, I will go in the room and shut the door and stay to myself. Why? I don't need to bring nobody. I don't need no company. Some folks like to have company. I don't need that. I need to be a time away with the Father and let him help me. And then I have certain picks who I call on to help pray me through, talk me through. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If you feeling like whatever, get to the corner somewhere. Don't hurt everybody else because you hurt and hurt people hurt other people, but don't hurt other people. Yes.
So what is the difference between the two is if you were there, then you obviously
you're a witness.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the other one.
And if they list me on there to be privy to check on you because I was a witness to your incident, then I should be only calling about the incident. I should not be calling about anything else outside of that but that. If I'm calling about something else outside of what I witnessed, then I'm being nosy.
Yes.
and that ain't none of my business. And you working at the provider office should tell me that. Ma'am, I can't disclose that information. That's not relevant to what you need to know.
Yeah, like,
That's what you tell them.
She had her baby already or something like that. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then release of information at on a medical record setting is saying that I'm giving this doctor or this attorney permission to have this because it's pertinent to whatever they need it for.
okay.
Anything outside of what they need it for, they shouldn't be asking.
Release information for the doctors?
For the paperwork, for your records,
Okay.
stuff like that. Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit more because I'm going to have some examples.
Okay.
We're going to do some play examples, some role playing, so y'all can help me differentiate what that means. Okay, so I got you. You got it. You calm now. You calm? Yeah, I love you. I mean that. I don't just mean that. I don't just say it vicariously. I really mean that. I see you. I see you. Okay.
I think it's because she's really smart.
She's very smart. She's very smart. And my husband is just like that. He's a chemist. He's very smart. But they just think 90 miles an hour. Yeah. And I have to like, slow down. There you go. So God put me in his life for a reason to help balance that. Because I know how to slow down. I know how to sit down and slow down. He's always up, riding the bike, doing something. He's hyper. My husband is very hyper. Yeah, he always has to be up doing something. He can't sit down. So, I get it. All right, so let's move on to this next page here. Let's understand what Title I is on this page here. So I'll be talking about Title I, and I'm showing this on the tube because in case y'all get y'all book, y'all can see what page I'm on. Now, sometimes your additions may be a little different in page numbers. That's all right. But as long as it has these titles on this page here, then you should follow through what I'm saying. Title I, Health Insurance Reform. The primary purpose of HIPAA, Health Insurance Reform, is to provide continuous insurance coverage for workers and their insurance dependents when they change or lose jobs. Okay, so can I erase this off the board? Well, first of all, let me take a picture. I'm going to take a picture and I'll put it on the text thread, okay? Give me just a minute and put on the text thread. Doing that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm dinging your phone.
I heard you say it.
Yeah, I know. All right, so, I tell you when it's right. Okay, so let's talk about the job and the insurance and how all that plays in COBRA. Who all ever gotten COBRA before?
I had it.
You had it? Do you know what COBRA? Tell me what COBRA is. Tell me your view what COBRA is.
I don't even think I kept it that long. I can't say. I just know I had it.
Okay, how did it work?
I think for a certain amount of days after you lose your job or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't use it.
You didn't use it? Okay. Why didn't you use it?
I had health insurance.
You already had health insurance
Yes.
elsewhere? Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Nobody else? Nobody got fired from a job, laid out from a job?
Yeah, I got fired from a job, but
Did you have insurance?
yeah, through Medicaid.
Okay, but did you get insurance through your employer? Did your job, was that part of a benefits package that you got from them? Okay, so you have no idea what that is. Okay, so Medicaid is something different.
Yeah.
Yes. It's insurance, but it's different from what I'm going. Okay. So Title I, HIPAA. This talks about insurance coverage. Okay. This is part of the benefits from your employer, from where you work at. Okay, we're gonna have fun with this. Okay, now, if you were laid off, fired, maybe you were on a furlough. I forgot how to spell furlough, but I'm gonna spell it like that for right now. Is that it?
I think so.
Okay, okay. So your benefits would end. Now, let me explain what I mean by benefits. Your benefits would end.
Is it because you can't pay the premium?
Yeah, there's something like that within that content.
Okay.
Okay, so your benefits will end. Your benefits consist of medical, dental, eye coverage, like eyeglass coverage, eye exams, things of that nature. Okay, so let's suppose that your term date, the date that you were fired, laid off, or furloughed, your term date was March 15th. Okay, from your job. Does everybody understand that?
Okay.
Okay. March has how many days in it?
31.
31 days. Okay. So your insurance will end 3/31/19. Why? I'm glad you asked. Because your premiums,
It's already been paid for the month.
yes, has already
Did it start at the beginning of the month?
Yep.
for the month at the beginning. Very good, Jennifer. At the beginning. At the beginning. Okay. So since your insurance have already been paid for from March 1st to March 31st, and you were fired, you were termed on March 15th, your insurance is going to end on the 31st. Okay? Now, employers typically pay 70% of the cost of employee. EE means employee. So if you catch me saying EE, that means employee. Does everybody understand that? Or ER. Okay. 70% of the employee's insurance premium monthly. Does everybody understand that? Okay. The employee is responsible. You have to pay a portion. How much? How much?
30%.
30%. Very good. How did you know that, Mike? Ah. Yes, very good. Very good. So they're responsible for 30%. Okay. Now, I'm going to write some math here. And you're probably asking, well, Ms. Harper, why are you explaining this? I'm glad you asked. Because you're going to have some folks that's going to have insurance to see the physician, and they need to understand how their insurance work. Does everybody understand or have an idea? You're learning, yeah. That's why I'm putting it on the tube, so you can replay it all you want. Okay.
Can I ask you something really quick?
Yes.
I have a question. So, let's say I was at the hospital 2 years ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Been out for the past year, for for the past year I've been having insurance, will my insurance will be able to cover what happened 2 years ago or no?
Okay, so you in the hospital 2 years ago. You have insurance. When did you get that insurance?
Like, I would say a few months later.
A few months after you were in the hospital?
Yeah.
They're not going to backdate that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only effective for the time that you have purchased it.
Okay.
If you didn't purchase it the other times you were there before, they're not going to backdate that because you didn't pay for the premiums for that.
Okay.
That makes sense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is. I wish it was a world that it could do that, but
I know, right?
we would be a broke nation.
We already broke.
Not really. Not really. It's all about how they managing it in Washington. Trust me, they're not broke, honey. They're not broke.
Not
Trust
broke.
me. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I like what you saying. Ain't that the truth? No, honey, we're not broke. They playing. Money is in circulation. Money is always in circulation. It's just like Monopoly. It's always in circulation. That's how you have to see
That's
it.
what they say, that this is the wealthiest country in the world.
That's
and
right.
They have the worst, like insurance and everything.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life insurance, depending on where you get it.
They know the variables and the calculations to work the health insurance like they do with Canada and Korea. I did a master's degree paper on that. They have the calculations to do it. They just don't want to do it. It's all about classism. They just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's all about classism.
I got that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
a shame.
it is. It is. It is. Let me get another marker. Right, that purple. I brought my own little stage. Okay. So let's suppose that you have Aetna insurance, right? Your employer. Let's suppose you work for Memorial Hermann. I love to use Memorial Hermann. There you go. And they offer you Aetna. So these are some of the products. Y'all gonna learn this. Products are HMO,
PPO,
point of service, EPO. We're gonna talk about the different kinds. So this is an insurance plan. Does everybody see that? Aetna is an insurance plan. Cigna is a what? United Healthcare is a what? Is an insurance plan. Molina Healthcare is a what? Insurance plan. Insurance plan. Okay. Products are the type of plan that they have. Do they have Aetna HMO? Do they have Aetna PPO? Do they have Aetna point of service? Do they have Aetna EPO? Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because not all the PPOs are the same. Either you got PPO federal.
Yeah.
You got,
it just depends. Very good.
It's all new to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just
Aetna has the stuff on under it.
yes. So
like,
let's suppose Aetna gives them an RFP, a request for a proposal, to say for you HMO plan and a point of service plan for uh-oh, for um, $15.2 million.
HMO.
Talk about that. $10. Does everybody understand that? Okay. This $15.2 million is to cover 2,000 employees that work at Memorial Hermann. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Now, let's break down 15.2 million. Let's suppose this is $5 million for so many employees. This is $1 million. 5.2 million for so many employees. Because not all 2,000 gonna want HMO. Not all 2,000 is gonna want PP. Okay. These are in tiers. This is tier 1. This is tier. I spelled it wrong. This is tier 2. This is tier. Oh, I'm spelling it right. Okay. What is it again? Okay, thank you, sweetie. I knew I was wrong. Agent service is the most expensive here. Let's get a different color. Let's get a PCP. Okay. Point of service, it doesn't require a PCP. The same thing for point of service, or directly to us.
What is a PCP?
The primary care physician.
What else? OBGYN.
OB is a specialist.
You caught it. Internal medicine gatekeepers. They're known as the gatekeepers.
They like reference out.
Yeah. They reference out.
Wait, with HMO,
versus on the PPO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Commercial
On
insurance.
on the
Okay.
PPO, you have.
So now I'm down.
I'm trying.
Okay. So let's call each be for each service.
Oh, okay. I got it.
You think you're gonna pay that every month? Say now.
You probably don't make that much. Make $2,000 a month. What would Medicare
Thing. That's a whole different thing. Talking more commercial insurance. Remember, commercial insurance is insurance that get through healthcare reform, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, yourself, but you pay it to the government. Okay, Medicare and Medicaid is totally government funded, which you really don't pay for. They totally taking care.
It's called taxes.
Yeah, this is true. They get you with
But
taxes.
you know what?
Absolutely.
But you know what? All those senators and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they have insurance for life.
Yes, they do.
And they have a huge salary.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. Okay, now hold on. Calm down. Now,
Yes.
Is
it possible for you to have a Medicaid and still have insurance and a job?
But
it just depends on your benefits. It just depends on what how can I say you qualify for, because you can still probably have Medicaid on your children and on yourself, but you have to coordinate that with the government, with CMS. Okay, because sometimes they go things based on your salary, and a lot of times, if you have children, they'll probably cover your children under chips and stars, but the parents, the mothers, may not have coverage. So if they are within a certain salary bracket, then you can get coverage for yourself. Okay, but your kids will be okay. So you have to kind of work that out and coordinate that with the government. And even with human resources, you have to kind of coordinate with the government, because every time you work, it reports your taxes and your earnings and what you put into your bank. And the government looks at everything and what you do. Everything is a paper trail. Do you get that? Yeah. So always keep an honest and open mind to ask and look into that and stay within the guidelines. Does that make sense? Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, so now let's look at this math. I'm gonna kind of mess y'all heads up. $1,200 times 70%. I need somebody to tell me 1,200.
840.
840.
Yeah.
Oh, you were quick, Lola.
Are you good at math?
No, yeah, she.
No,
Yeah.
I use my calculator.
Wow.
1,500 and self-defense.
Say that again, baby.
1050.
1050?
Yeah.
What is 70% of 1,800?
1260.
1,260. Very good. Okay. So this right here is what your employer are. ER means employer. When I'm talking like this in this reference, ER means employer. Turn this to catch this on video.
No,
That's my abbreviation of discussion. Yeah. So the employer is going to pay this every month on you. That's why it costs a lot to somebody, because they paying all this up front plus 2 weeks of your sick time plus 2 weeks of your vacation time. All that is calculated, and then they have to train you while you collecting a check at the same time. So it's very costly for them to hire people and to train them. That's why when you start a job, start on the best foot, pay attention. Take a tablet with you. I'm very religious about my tablet. I take a tablet with me everywhere I go in my purse, because I'm not going to memorize everything. I have to write my thoughts down real fast. Okay, you should take a tablet with you everywhere you go. So when I guess my mother just raised us like that, structured, but we always had a tablet with us every Sunday at 5 o'clock, and we would tell our parents what we liked, what we didn't like about how they